Hello and welcome back to a Method to the Madness Breaking Bad edition. I'm your host Patrick, and joining me as always is Mitchie.
Hello.
And today we are covering Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 1, the season premiere.
Yeah.
Oh shit, what is this titled?
No mas. The A has a little accent on it, so I don't know how you would say that in Spanish.
No mas. I mean, doesn't that mean like no, essentially?
Bro, I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. What are you on about?
Yeah, I don't know. Alright, titled No Mas. This episode is... this is when things start to get good, man. This is when the juicy stuff starts happening.
Yeah,
but
although it's a little slow at the start of the season.
It is. Yeah. I was going to say, although this season is where it starts to pick up, this episode is like pretty dismal, actually, overall.
What? It's not bad.
No, not bad. Like dismal in tone.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a downer episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into it. Mitchie, can you take us through the plot?
All right. Lionel and Marco Salamanca make a pilgrimage to a Mexican shrine to Santa Muerte, making an offering and leaving a drawing of Heisenberg at the shrine. Apologies for my shit Spanish/Mexican pronunciations. A week after the mid-air plane collision, all of Albuquerque remains in shock. A depressed Walter White is living in his home alone following the departure of his wife Skylar, who has moved out with their son and newborn daughter to give Walt a chance to pack his things. Walt has pieced together that Donald Margolis inadvertently caused the plane crash after being distracted by his grief over his daughter Jane's death. Remorseful, he burns several bundles of money on the barbecue, but at the last moment changes his mind and throws the bills into the pool. While helping Walt to transport his belongings to a new apartment, Hank lifts a bag containing the money Walt obtained in his deal with Gus Fring. Walt openly admits the existence of the money, but Hank laughs, believing it to be a joke. Once in his new apartment, Walt calls to give his family his new address. He later receives a text message reading Polios. At a school assembly, Walt becomes agitated as both teachers and students open up about the traumas they experienced due to the plane collision. When prompted to share his thoughts, he delivers an awkward speech comparing the accident to other tragic plane collisions, disturbing the assembled audience by advising them to look on the bright side.
Alright, so, first of all, like, what is up with these twins, man? What strange characters.
Yeah.
They're more like forces of nature, like, than actual characters, you know, like... I can see the writers' room being like, oh yeah, no, these people are more symbols than actual people. But
they're just simple.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we get some development for them later on, some backstory, but like, I don't know. It's just these are very obtuse characters in this otherwise like very gritty, like, you know, detailed show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like them. I like them as villains. They work, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about them. Because the fact that they got no character makes it kind of boring seeing them.
Yeah.
Except when they fight Hank. That's a good scene.
So I was like, man, what is... this is a pretty cool cold open, by the way, when they're all crawling. And I was like, what is happening here? Why are they crawling? And so apparently, I know, this is just a thing they do in Mexico when they have pilgrimages to like shrines and stuff. Crawling is a sign of reverence to whatever deity they're worshipping.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, also, it just seems like it would take a long time to do that. So
is it actually a real thing?
Apparently.
They crawl around it in Mexico.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's like ubiquitous, but I bet there's some people that do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because they have a very. I like it when they go in this shrine and there's all the Grim Reapers and stuff. It's like a big part of their culture, isn't it? To like praise death.
Yeah. I really like that aspect of their culture.
Yeah,
praising death is metal as fuck. Yeah. So Walt is watching the news, and 167 deaths now lay at his feet.
It's not that bad. It's like what 50 worst air disasters. So.
Right. So yeah, I love Walter and Hank's little, or it's like a one-sided conversation of Hank just like talking because that's just who he is. Yeah. And then he's like, am I talking too much? Let me know if I'm talking too much. And then this little like bit this little bit of tension where he picks up the bag, and then Walt tells him there's $1 million in there. It's a really good bit.
Yeah, what's going on there? Like, so Walt's kind of probably feeling pretty suicidal at the moment. Like, he's just going to go... He burnt the cash and obviously changed his mind, but still was going to do it. And telling Hank that... Do you reckon he was just playing with fire, seeing what he could get away with?
Maybe, yeah. That I like that interpretation. I just think, he was like, it was also like a clever thing to say because, like, what else could he have said? It was in that bag, and
Cinder
he
blocks.
probably knew that. Yeah, exactly. He probably knew that Hank would take it as a joke if he just told the truth, which he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene where he burns the money, great bit of adding dimension to Walter's character about how he burns the money, he looks at it for like a few seconds, and then he's like, no, and then he douses it and puts it in the pool, realizing that he actually doesn't want to burn the money.
Yeah.
Nice little bit of conflict within his character there. And then also when he's like lighting matches and throwing him into the pool, that's what he does in the first episode. Do you remember that?
He does,
Yeah.
So do you reckon he feels guilty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, it's kind of hard to tell at first, but then it kind of hit me once they got to the school assembly and he was trying to justify this air disaster wasn't that bad. I'm like, yeah, he definitely feels guilty. He's trying to justify it to himself. But it's not quite clear at the start to me.
Yeah. That was... I really love this scene at the school assembly. First off, like, that girl... Oh no, that boy at the beginning, he's like, in some schools when there's a tragedy, students get an automatic A. And he's just trying to get like a freebie by like...
He obviously doesn't give a fuck though.
Yeah, he really doesn't give a fuck. It's so good. And then that girl, she's like, oh, why would God do this? And then the principal's like, all right, let's try and keep it secular, honey.
I know, it's actually a really funny scene. And then the last guy about the legs in the seats.
Yeah.
And then Walt's reaction, just, it's good.
Yeah, and then I also really love Walt's speech. As he said, like, he's feeling guilty, so he's trying to justify it. And he's, like, listing off all the worst disasters, mid-air collisions that have happened.
Yeah, because you can tell he was doing a lot of research into that shit.
Yeah. And then, I think before he goes to school, he's making a sandwich for himself.
Yeah, and he cuts the crust.
Yeah, like, so... And then apparently this is a thing throughout the series that he adopts the habits of the people he murders.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, so I can't remember. Creepy. It is creepy, right? Like there's something. I mean, spoilers, but once he murders Gus Fring, he starts doing something in the final season that Gus Fring did. I can't remember what it is exactly. We'll get to it, I'm sure.
But yeah, murders Gus Fring. Why'd you spoil that for me, cunt?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's pretty shitty of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he didn't murder Bedecker, but yeah, I don't know. That's I don't know. It's a weird thing for him to do.
Yeah,
it's a weird little quirk, but maybe that's more to him feeling guilty, like he's I don't know. He's taking those personalities with him as
Could
to
be.
like yeah.
I mean that cutting the crust seems like a very conscious decision, so that could be him consciously adopting Crazy Eight's kind of legacy in a way. Yeah,
exactly. Like it's like a fucked up way of preserving his legacy, almost. Yeah.
Skylar speaks to a divorce lawyer about making a separation from Walt permanent, but hesitates when the attorney mentions the possibility of uncovering money Walt may have hidden. After being given a ride home from school by his father, Walter Jr. argues with both his parents and expresses his anger towards Skylar, who refuses to give him an explanation. She also refuses when asked by her sister Marie Schrader. Finally, she confronts Walt, presenting him with divorce papers. When she accuses him of being a drug dealer, Walt admits to being a methamphetamine cook. Skylar storms off, though not before threatening to expose his secret to his children to Hank if he does not concede to the divorce.
So I thought this was really funny how, like, Skylar thinks he's selling weed.
Yeah.
As if, like, he would be a criminal, but it's such a, I don't know, banal thing.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as, when you compare it to meth cooking, it's like nowhere near as bad, like.
Yeah.
But it seems like a logical conclusion for her, though, given that, from the start of the series, so.
Yeah, it does. And then, like, I don't know, she figures it out again, like, Skylar's pretty smart, so she put two and two together that he was dealing drugs. Yeah, man. So do you know that show Weeds?
Yeah.
Yeah. About
Not
like
really.
a suburban mom who starts selling marijuana.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, and it's, it's kind of Breaking Bad-esque, and it came out before Breaking Bad, and then Vince Gilligan famously said that, like, he didn't know about the existence of that show, and if he did, he probably wouldn't have made Breaking Bad, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so the idea of, a suburban parent becoming a drug dealer was, like, the novelty of that idea was really important to him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank God Weeds isn't well known then.
Yeah. I think it's more of like a comedy too, which is weird that he would compare it to this show. Yeah. And then yeah, man, poor Skylar. Like Flynn hates her now because she won't tell him. Yeah.
Honestly, like that whole conflict there, like you see later on that she's kind of hemmed into a corner. Like she doesn't really know what to do because there's ramifications for her if she actually tells the police or Hank or whatever about Walt's true story. But because she's doing that, she's actually accepting the fact that her son is going to end up hating her because she's not revealing any information at all. And you just feel so bad for her. So bad.
Yeah. Yeah, she can't even tell Marie, which is like, they're obviously very close. They share everything with each other, yeah.
Yeah.
Next paragraph.
Walt's former business partner, Jesse, is in rehab trying to overcome his drug addiction and come to terms with his girlfriend, Jane Margolis' death. During one session, the group leader confesses how he killed his own daughter while desperately looking for vodka and says that hating oneself is only an impediment to moving on. Walt picks up Jesse and takes him to his apartment, where Jesse expresses remorse over the events that led to the mid-air collision. Walt tells him he is not responsible for what happened, but Jesse calmly insists that he has learned not to shy away from who he really is, the bad guy. Inspired by this, Walt visits Gus at Los Polios Hermanos and tells him of his decision to get out of the meth business. Gus presents an offer for Walt to make $3 million for 3 months of work. Walt briefly reconsiders, but ultimately refuses. Meanwhile, the two Salamanca cousins cross into the US from Mexico, hidden in the back of the truck in search of Heisenberg. After another migrant discovers their affiliation with the Juarez cartel, they kill their fellow passengers and the driver of the truck before blowing it up. And
I don't think that's explicitly connected in the episode, right? That he goes silent because he knows that they're a part of this cartel.
No, I thought so.
Really? What indicates that?
Because he saw the skulls on their boots, and obviously that's an indication of that kind of shit. Like, I'm not saying I know that for sure, but obviously skulls on boots must mean, like, you're part of a cartel.
Well, yeah, that's what I got too, but, like, I didn't know that the cartel name was the Juarez cartel.
Oh, right, yeah, and I also wouldn't have thought, like, the twins killed them because they found out they were in a Juarez cartel. Like, if they're wearing boots that have fucking obvious skulls on them, then they clearly know that people walking past them are going to know they're in the Juarez cartel. And that's not really going to be hidden information. And I reckon they just killed them because they wanted to. Because they're just fucking psychopathic twins.
Yeah. I mean, judging from what we've seen about him, that checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're really impractical too. They fucking blow up this truck when they're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. It's alright. It looks cool and they can walk.
It does look cool. They don't care about looking at an explosion.
Yeah.
So yeah, Walt picks up Jesse from rehab.
Yeah.
Nice of him to do that, and then he lets him stay at his place. And then both of them think that the air disaster is their fault, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only Jesse knew the truth.
Yeah.
Does Jesse actually stop using drugs after this? Like,
yeah.
For the rest of the series, he's actually stopped.
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. Like, he's only really a drug addict for, like, 2 seasons.
That is interesting, yeah. I guess, like, tragedy will do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him, though. This dude who tells a story about him killing his daughter, I feel like I know this cunt from somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks like Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck, that was a full-on story, eh? You wouldn't have expected it, this, like, nice guy killed his own daughter. It's rough.
Yeah. And then, Walt saying that, I'm not a criminal, sir, to Gus Fring.
Yeah.
It's like this noble attempt at repentance.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, is he too far gone at this point?
What does it even mean to be too far gone?
To, like, redeem himself. Like, I don't know.
Like, because, is once a murderer, always a murderer?
Yeah, remember how I talked about, like, there was that episode in season 2 where he had an opportunity to, like, leave the criminal life.
Yeah.
And that was before he let Jane die.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is like a really subjective thing, but I personally think that if he had stopped there, he would have, he could have redeemed himself.
What does redemption mean, though?
I don't know.
Who's redeeming him?
I don't know. Me as an audience member, like... I pardon him because I am his god. Yeah,
you are in a way, in a weird way.
Yeah,
in a fourth wall way.
Because, like, he had killed what, like 2 people by that point, Emilio and Crazy 8.
Yeah.
And they were both, as you said, in hot blood. Like, you know, it was kill or be killed kind of thing. So, you know, I think at that point he had murdered someone, but he wasn't a murderer. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know if killing Jane makes him a murderer, though.
I think it does.
I don't think it does, just because it's so really not like he wasn't really doing it. Like, sure, he kind of knocked her over, but her vomiting and him just standing there, does that really make him a murderer? A murderer, I just think like he, you know, put a pillow over her head and just suffocated her to death kind of thing, but he didn't do that, so. Yeah,
I don't know. That's like what I'm talking about. It's this weird idea of, like, you know, redemption, and
it's a very subjective thing.
It is. Yeah. Anyway, that's how I take it. Is that it's ironic in this episode specifically because he's trying to backpedal, but he can't. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah, same.
All right, cool. Thanks for listening. Join us next episode.
Bye.
I guess what I would want to say is to look on the bright side. First of all, nobody on the ground was killed. And that, I mean, an incident like this over a populated urban center, that right there, that's just gotta be some minor miracle. So.
If you like this series, Mitch is going to tell you where you can find more of these.
Yep, so you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. And we've also got a website, amttm.com, where you can find our fabulous episodes on Breaking Bad.
If you have any questions, queries, insights, or criticism, you can send them to mail@amttm.com.
And as always, thank you for listening.